The region Kalos is most known for the Mega evolution, and in the Pokemon franchise, catching Pokemon is very important. But what if I don't do that? I take every Pokemon I can get and beat this Pokemon challenge in X and Y with only gift Pokemon. In Pokemon X and Y are a lot of gift Pokemon, some very strong ones as well. The Kalos first partner Pokemon Chespin, Fennekin and Froakie. The Kanto Starterpokemon Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle. One of the Fossils Tyrunt or Amaura. One fan favorite Lucario. And the Surf Pokemon Lapras. That team sounds amazing. I haven't played through Kalos in a long time, but this team should help a lot. Here are the rules. I can only use Pokemon I received as a gift in battle. I can catch other Pokemon since I need HMs to finish the run. I cannot use any items in battle besides Pokeballs, and held items are allowed. And finally, I play on set mode. With that said, let's begin. The first gift I get is the first partner Pokemon Chespin, Fennekin or Froakie. I think Fennekin might be the most fun Pokemon of these three, and here we go. This game has like 50 rivals, and the first battle is against Shauna with her Chespin, but she shows wrong and Fennekin destroys her with 2 Ember. Very easy start of the run. I received some Pokeballs to catch Pokemon. The run could officially begin now, but I cannot catch anything with it anyway. So entering Viridian Forest, Centerloon Forest, I get to battle some trainer, and when I left it with all the rivals, I felt already too strong for the next gym leader. Before I can challenge her, I get the roller skates, and I have to admit, I don't like them at all, but maybe I get used to it. The first gym leader is Viola. Basing her team around bug types sounds super easy with Fennekin, but it is not. Not at all. The issue is the first Pokemon she has. Very nasty strategy to go around fire types. Surskit has Water Sport, Bubble, and is part water, so Fennekin has to boost its own attack with Howl to push through with Scratch. It seems they have the same speed value because they change up who goes first with each turn. When it goes down, the real opponent comes in, Vivillon. It will only use Infestation, which seems to always critical hit. I might have forgotten that it works like that. But the second Water Sport goes away. I went with Ember and hoped it is enough, since Fennekin goes down otherwise, and it got a critical hit beating Vivillon. Viola is defeated, and I was so happy to see that. I was so scared to level up a lot more to have a chance. Before leaving the city, I received the EXP share, which doesn't do anything just yet, but will become the strongest key item to ever exist in the Pokemon game. Finally, arriving at the central city of Kalos, Lumiose City. I heard a lot of stuff is happening here recently, but I need to check out the office of Professor Sycamore first. Inside the office, Sycamore wants to battle. He has the best starter trio in the entire Pokemon franchise, the starter Pokemon from Kanto, Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle. The battle took a bit and wasn't even close, not at all. The battle itself gave enough experience to let Fennekin evolve into Braixen. I didn't play a lot of Pokemon Tekken Tournament, but I heard it is quite good in there. Anyway, me beating Sycamore was so heroic, such a display of strength, that he decides to give me one of the Kanto starter, and I choose Bulbasaur of course. Braixen's issue will be water-type Pokemon, and Bulbasaur can easily handle those. I think. Like for example the battle against Tierno on Route 5. Well, actually his Corphish does not have a water-type attack, so it really shouldn't count. But his Vice Grip did a huge amount of damage. Overall was nearly able to take Bulbasaur out. Very sad to see, but winning here wasn't a real question. On the way to the next major battle, Bulbasaur reached level 16 on Route 6 to evolve into Ivysaur. This is a huge upgrade and will make a lot of battles easier to do. After doing a puzzle at the Perfume Palace, receiving the Pokeflute, I can wake up Snorlax, which is blocking the way to Route 7. I realized even if it's presented on a platter, it is not a gift Pokemon, so I cannot catch it, running away. At least Route 7 is open again. Here's the Pokemon Daycare I won't use, the Pokemon Chateau I won't participate in, but the multi-battle at the end with Serena against Trevor and Tierno. Of course this battle is super easy. I went ahead to use Ivysaur, pressed on Leech Seed for Corphish, and then proceeded to use a lot of Venishocks against Trevor's Pokemon. Pikachu is very weak on the defense, and Flabébé is weak to poison type attacks thanks to the fairy typing. And all of this while Leech Seed restores HP from Corphish. But let's be honest, Serena is quite bad. First their fledgling loses to a puny little Pikachu, and then Frogadier loses to Flababy's Wine Whip. At least I didn't lose a Pokemon here. The battle is done, and I think it was just to illustrate that multi-battles are possible. After a very long adventure, I reach a glittering cave. It's quite dark in here, but at the end of the tunnel is a scientist who has a nice present for me, a fossil. I can choose between two, and I chose the best one, of course, the Jaw Fossil. More power is more good. This time I will use it and let it revive in Embred Town, giving me another teammate, and this time it's a Tyrunt. Very strong Pokemon and fits right into my team perfectly. I know I can get TM Rock Smash and find an old Ember, but it's technically speaking not a gift, so I cannot use it in the end anyway. Over at Stylish City is the second gym leader, Grant, the fossil type specialist. His team was very annoying to beat. I needed a lot of tries, it was crazy. Think about this, Amaura hits super effective on all of my Pokemon, and sometimes it doesn't feel like one-shotting, going for worse moves instead. But Ivysaur is the only one who can beat it, with Sleep Powder and Rock Smash. I made a mistake in the battle, using Leech Seed for no reason, but it worked out anyway since Amaura missed twice in this battle. Last or second is Tyrunt, and this was actually quite sad. Leech Seed hits, so the battle might have been over at that point already, but Sleep Powder let it stay asleep for a long time. I went ahead to use as many Rock Smash as I could, just in case Ivysaur could go down. That way my Tyrunt or maybe even Braixen could remove the last HP it would have remaining. But it wasn't necessary. Even after Hyper Potion and all that stuff, Ivysaur came out on top. Beating Grant in the end with just one Ivysaur, that is amazing. Even Rock Tomb as a TM will be great for my Tyrunt. Arriving in Geosenge's town, I was ambushed by Corinna. Haven't played these games for so long I forgot this was a thing. The battle itself was quite easy because Braixen hits super effective with Ember. Can't wait to get something stronger. But what I did realize was that Lucario used Metal Sound, lowering special defense, but Corinna doesn't have any special attacks on her team. So what is happening here? Well, it doesn't really matter, but a second Lucario would have been able to knock Braixen out easily. When the battle was over, I thought that Braixen might be way stronger than I first thought. Let's see how it turns out in the next battles. Inside the Tower of Mastery, we have to determine who is stronger, my rival Serena or me. The guy who doesn't even know how to throw pokeballs. First a Meowstic, and Tyrunt wasn't able to do a lot since Fake Out removed the first turn and Disarming Voice got a critical hit. Very funny. But Bite connected for a lot of damage right before Tyrunt had to go down. Braixen in, and I thought Thief should be enough from nearly red HP, but it is not. Braixen has no physical attack it seems. Another one and Meowstic is done. Frogadier entered the arena and I switch out into Ivysaur. Didn't realize that Frogadier cannot really touch Ivysaur, and thanks to the Rocky Helmet, the opposing water type dealt more damage to itself than to Ivysaur. That was a bit funny actually. After several hits, the frog was defeated. Last is Absol, but Rocky Helmet with Leech Seed was already too much to handle for Absol, and it was just a bit until it went down. Razor Leaf was used to speed things up a bit. Serena is out of Pokemon already. She gave me the first Pokeballs, but didn't really use them either. Inside the gym, by doing the gym puzzle, Ivysaur reached level 32 and can now evolve into Venusaur. That is so good on so many levels since I already have the Venusaurite, the item to let it Mega Evolve, and I won't even use it. But the final battle at this gym is against Corinna again, this time without Lucario for some reason. This is also the first gym leader where the typing is followed through, no real tricks, just fighting types all the way. First is Mienfoo against my Braixen, and while Mienfoo does have Fake Out, it didn't use it, while Braixen pummels the little fighting type with one Psybeam after another, burning through all the Hyper Potions in the process. In the end, Mienfoo loses pretty hard. Machoke is a bit more dangerous, but I thought it's fine seeing Psybeam's damage, but of course Rock Tomb not only hits but also crits to knock Braixen out. Venusaur in, and one Venoshock to remove the mono fighting type Pokemon. Last is Hawlucha, and I wasn't too sure what it can even do, so I went for Leech Seed first and then Venoshock. Flying Press did a great amount, way more than expected, but I'm not sure if it's enough, besides maybe a critical hit. It doesn't happen and Venusaur came out on top. Corinna is defeated, but this was just merely foreplay for the real battle at the top of the Tower of Mastery. Okay, I got the badge, but there's another battle. Before the battle begins, I received the Mega Ring, which allows me to use Mega Evolutions in battle. That is the mechanic of this generation and makes a lot of battles even better. While talking about Mega Evolutions, it turned out one of Corinna's Lucarios is a traitor. And it went over to me just so that both Lucario can battle now. I'm not too sure why this is happening. They say it was a lot of aura farming, but whatever. The battle itself was very boring. I believe it is basically just decided by who is faster or who gets a critical hit first, and fortunately my Lucario was faster. At least this shows me the Mega Evolution in combat, which looks quite nice to be honest. Anyway, 2 hits and the opposing Lucario is done. And this was so amazing that the traitorous Lucario wants to stay with me. I consider this a gift, even if it's a bit more tricky and a new teammate is added to the team. But that is not all. East of Shallow City is Route 12, and here's a breeder who gives away Lapras for free, for anyone who asks. I did ask, and Lapras was added to the team as well. I think this might be an even greater upgrade than Lucario, but I don't want to fight all the Lucario fans out there. In Coumarine City is a nice guy who gives me the black sludge item. I'm a huge fan of leftovers, and this is basically the same for poison type Pokemon. Before I can finally challenge the next gym leader, Serena wants another battle and wants to see my new Mega Evolution. And of course I will not show it to her. That's obvious, right? First is Meowstic and I try again with Tyrunt, which will obviously fail miserably. Fake Out removes the turn, then Psybeam did a huge chunk, while Bite did slightly over half. Maybe Rock Tomb was the way to go, to lower speed, but it's too late now, Tyrunt is down. Breaks in, and while Ember did fine damage, Psybeam hits and confuses. Of course that removes the very next opportunity to hit just for Meowstic to set up a light screen. Instead of changing up to Thief for physical damage, Braixen uses Ember to not defeat the Psychic type. At least Disarming Voice doesn't deal a lot, it is resisted after all. Anyway, in the end, Meowstic goes down and let Frogadier come in. I switch into Venusaur immediately, where Black Sludge puts in some work already. First Leech Seed, since Light Screen is still up, and then I am able to push for Damage with Leaf Storm, immediately removing Frogadier, most likely would have worked from full HP as well. Last is Absol, and Leaf Storm hits once more, nearly defeating the Dark type in one go. While Confusion is now very annoying, I went ahead and tried to hit with Venoshock. In hindsight, I could have switched out into Lucario to ignore all those issues, but it was fine in the end. Serena is defeated, and I have a feeling I don't do Tyrunt justice. I feel that Pokemon is way better than whatever is happening here. Of course not against Ramos, it's the grass type gym leader, and I went into this battle without healing first, since I actually didn't feel like it to be honest. First Jumpluff, but Lapras has Ice Beam now and it is double, super effective. Acrobatics didn't even deal good damage. Next is Weeping Bell, and I thought there's no reason to switch anymore, pushing another Ice Beam into Ramos' team, and Weeping Bell didn't even stand after this one hit. Last is Go-Goat, a very nice Pokemon actually, but Ice Beam removed over half of its HP before it was even able to move, and Lapras went down. I bring in Venusaur next and think this is basically a Kanto only run right now, but while Hyper Potion heals Go-Goat back to full, Venoshock does slightly over half and the second one defeats it finally. Ramos is out of Pokemon and I already have 4 badges. Not even catching any Pokemon works out great so far. After beating up some team flagrants, Braixen is ready to evolve into its final stage, Delphox. That Pokemon is just amazing, adding the Psychic type which boosts Psychic type attacks a lot. And the Kalos power plant is Team Flare, but the final battle here is set up as a major battle, and what does the leader of this operation have? A single Mightyena, that's it. Not even that high of a level. Tyrunt alone was able to handle the situation easily. I got a bit lucky, but that's besides the point. The power plant is safe again and the rewards weren't even that great. And Team Flame Charge, which is physical and only Delphox could learn it. A magnet, but I don't even have an electric type move. Wow. Back at Lumiose City, the place in the middle of Kalos, and the most important place in Legend ZA, is also a gym and the leader is Clement, the electric type enjoyer. This battle was a bit rough. It wasn't hard at all, but seeing Tyrunt get clowned on is not a good look. First is Emolga and I went with Tyrunt. Volt Switch did very little damage, but is a switch into Magneton. Of course Rock Tomb misses, very sad. Magneton sets up electric terrain, boosting electric type attacks by 50%. It sounds great, but Bulldoze is a ground type attack, dealing great damage, but way too low for a double super effective hit I guess. While Clement uses all of his hyper potions, I just have to push on Bulldoze, lowering speed in the process. In the end, Magneton didn't stand a chance, but it was to be expected of the mid-game Earthquake. Here's Heliolisk, and this is the end for Tyrunt. Even though that one hit looked great, but Quick Attack has a higher priority. I want to use Lucario next, even though it's a bit much for that Pokemon. I still went for a Mega Evolution to use the full power, and then one power-up punch to knock Heliolisk out. Hard Normal isn't always great. Last is Emolga again, and Lucario's best move here is Shadow Claw. And it hit critical just to make sure the little Emolga is really defeated. Clement is out of Pokemon and loses the battle. I feel like the gym leader of Kalos need to upgrade a bit. After some traveling through Luminous City, it's time to continue on, and on Route 14 Serena already waited for a new battle. She still hasn't upgraded her team yet, but it's fine for me. First Meowstic against my Tyrunt, and while Fake Out removes a turn, I was confused why Disarming Voice does so little damage now, but one crunch was enough to knock that Psychic type out. Absol is next, and I thought, why not go with Bulldoze first in case Tyrunt doesn't make it, and if it does, go with Rock Tomb, and the damage was amazing. So much so that Absol didn't stand a chance, going down 2. Plus Greninja and Tyrunt wouldn't be able to attack before its HP gets removed. So I switch into Venusaur, seeing a lot of Water Shuriken animations, before Venusaur is able to move and does a big and devastating Leaf Storm to one-hit KO Greninja just on the spot. Serena's defeated, and I think the next battle she might get a small edge which could make this battle a lot harder to navigate. But the next time Tyrunt will be no more, and instead it evolves into its next and final form, Tyrantrum. That Pokemon is a monster, or can be, and let's hope it will be. The next gym leader is Valerie in Laverse City. She is specialized in fairy types and stole the layout of her gym from Sabrina, very nasty girl. First Mawile, and I went with Delphox. My fire type was faster and hit super effective with Mystic Fire, defeating Mawile on the spot. Next is Sylveon, and I wasn't too sure what to do here. Use multiple Mystic Fire first, since it does reduce special attack, very important against Pokemon who mainly deal damage through special attacks, and then switch into Venusaur to beat Sylveon up with Venoshock, but it did survive, and after Hyper Potions, it was clear that another Venoshock will not knock it out. So I had to use Leech Seed first to get it into range, and then knock it out with another Venoshock. Quite tedious, but it does work out. Last is Mr. Mime, and I want to set up Leech Seed first and then switch into Delphox again to tank Psychic easily. Now some Mystic Fire to reduce special attack, damage is heavily reduced thanks to the light screen, but when Mr. Mime slowly became low on HP, I wanted to go for the KO, but another Hyper Potion was here to negate that plan of mine. Mr. Mime's special attack is already heavily reduced, so I can switch out into Tyrantrum and start hitting Mr. Mime with Crunch. It did survive just barely, and I pressed on Rock Tomb just in case another Hyper Potion is waiting, but it wasn't, knocking Mr. Mime out in the end. It took a long time, but Valerie's out of Pokemon and I receive another badge. Just 2 more to go, but before I can grab those, I have to make a little detour. At the Pokeball factory is Team Flare. They try to steal the Master Ball to catch another one of those pitiful Pokemon, but I am here to stop them. Well, Deadman didn't stand a chance. Scraggy isn't even fully evolved, and Houndoom is pretty bad against the Lapras. Fortunately for them, and unfortunately for me, there are 2 named Team Flare members, Bryony and Celosia. Serena thinks I can help, and a multi-battle ensued. Lapras wasn't able to do a lot against the Midnight, but Venusaur handled the rest. And just for the record, Serena, Meowstic has Fake Out. Use it! I heard it's a good move, especially if an opposing Manectric is on the same battlefield as a friendly Lapras. Since I battled so heroically, I received the Master Ball, which is literally useless to me at the moment, but I smile, say thank you, and move on. I went over to Dandemel Town and entered a frozen cavern to beat up some more Team Flare guys. Comparing this to Fire Red and Leaf Green, I had to battle way more Team Flare people than Team Rocket, that's for sure. Arriving in Anistar City, the next stop for the Gym Leader Challenge, is another Serena battle waiting for me. This time she has 1 more Pokemon to defeat. But first is Meowstic against my Tyrantrum. Instead of using Fake Out, Psychic was used, and while it did over half, my Dragon used Crunch to remove a lot of HP. The Psychic type used Disarming Voice next, but my Pokemon just barely survived to defeat the opponent in return. Greninja's next, but I just switched out into Venusaur, tank Dark Pulse, which did a lot to be fair, and then another just right before Venusaur's Petal Dance came out to destroy Greninja from full HP. The new member is Flareon, and it chose to use Bite while Venusaur is locked into Petal Dance. Only after the whole pedal dance is over, Flareon decides to use Lava Plume to knock Venusaur out. Lapras can handle the rest. One Lava Plume to burn Lapras, but the Surf hit was enough to defeat Flareon. Last Absol and I switch into Lucario, see Swords Dance. While I thought about using Mega Evolution or not, I realized it doesn't matter and went ahead on Aura Sphere to remove Absol easily. Serena is defeated, but her team improved quite a lot. Let's see how the final battle of the rivals will look like. The gym in Annister City is based on psychic types and the leader is Olympia. To get the new badge, I have to battle her team and let's see how that works out. First a Sigilyph and I went for Tyrantrum. Psychic did a huge amount of damage, but Rock Tomb did even more and lower speed, just so my Pokemon is faster and hits with another Rock Tomb to knock it out. Slowking should defeat Tyrantrum at this point, but Crunch gets to hit first for a near defeat while Yawn was used. That's strange, but I switch into Delphox instead, hoping to see either Hyper Potion or Psychic. Grass Knot is a nice move from Ramos, the gym leader earlier, but it's not even a 2-hit KO, very sad. When another Yawn was used, I switch back into Tyrantrum, while another Hyper Potion gets used. Unfortunately, only one Crunch gets to be used to remove most of Slowking's HP, and then one Psychic removes my Pokemon from the field. I use Delphox again and use one final Grass Knot to knock Slowking out. Last is Meowstic and of course Fake Out to receive a free turn, and while Flamethrower did great damage, Shadow Ball was used to reduce Delphox's HP down to 0. I use Lapras now and hope Surf is enough to win, but it wasn't. Fortunately Meowstic doesn't deal a lot either, so another Surf and the battle is over. Olympia is defeated and another badge entered my pocket. And while I only need one more badge to finish the gym leader part of the run, there's a battle to be had against Lysanderoth. Entering the Lysander labs, I find Lysander himself and we battle. Not sure why he's named after the laboratory, but it's fine for me, I don't need to know. First Mianfu and I go with Delphox. Wanted to set up Core Mine before I realized it's actually useless, especially after that high jump kick critical hit. One psychic attack and that little fighting Pokemon is defeated. Gyarados is on a whole different level, it's crazy. I switch it to Lapras to negate Aqua Tail first, tank an Outrage next, just to hit with a lot of damage thanks to Thunderbolt. Outrage is dangerous, but Lapras has to survive another one before knocking Gyarados out. Now comes Pyroar and I should have switched out but stayed in, while Fire Blast missed, made a mistake and was rewarded for it, I love it. I tempted fate once more, but this time Lapras goes down. I have Tyrantrum come in, survive a Dark Pulse, fortunately no flinch, and a Rock Tomb hits for the KO. Last Murkrow and I thought it wouldn't be able to do anything until I saw Steel Wings damage that's actually quite high, but one Rock Tomb finishes it off. Lysander loses quite badly against me, but he will just run away like a true villainous team leader. Deep inside the laboratory is Xerosic, the mad scientist of Team Flare. If I cannot beat him, he will activate the ultimate weapon to destroy the world. I think the stakes got a bit high for a Pokemon game, but let's roll with it. First is Crobat against Tyrantrum, and while Steering did some damage, Rock Tomb hits and removes Crobat immediately. Second is Malamar, and this Pokemon can be very dangerous, so I went for Dragon Claw believing it's the best damage I have, while Malamar went for Super Power. Thanks to the contrary ability, it even increases the stats instead of reducing. But Rocky Helmet is here to the rescue, just one Dragon Claw to lower HP more, and then Tyrantrum gets defeated. The Rocky Helmet takes Malamar with it. Xerosic is defeated, and that means the world is now at peace once more. Well, not really, he actually activates the weapon and it looks like it's stolen from a Final Fantasy game. I could have sworn I saw it in one of those games. Arriving back in Geosenge Town, walking right into the secret headquarters of Team Flare, there's Lysander again, and we battle once more. His team got a little level boost in some evolutions, but it's basically the same. First is me and Chao, and I start with Delphox, using Psyshock to remove the fighting type in one go. Next is Gyarados, and I can freely switch into Lapras since Water Absorb negates Aqua Tail. After tanking Outrage, Thunderbolt doesn't KO in one hit, which is to be expected at this point, but the second Outrage nearly took Lapras out. Thanks to a critical hit, that was close. My Water type still comes out on top. Pyroar is faster and I just let Lapras go, the HP is too low now anyway. Bring in Tyrantrum, tanking a Dark Pulse, pray that it doesn't let it flinch, and then return with Rock Tomb. Didn't KO, but lowering speed is super important. I throw in an Earthquake afterwards because of the higher hit rate. Last is Honchkrow, but it is slower than Tyrantrum, which is sad in itself already, but one Rock Tomb even knocked it out as well. Poor Honchkrow. Lysander, however, is defeated, and he took it just like that, giving me the okay to go deep down into his HQ. Okay, full transparency, it is here where I made a big mistake. A huge one. So big I wanted to reset at first, but thought I should talk about it. The legendary Pokemon Xerneas will spawn here, and as far as I know, I have to catch it. There's no way around it. I tried fleeing, but it just stands here. Okay, I catch it then, nothing I can do. But what I didn't realize is that this Pokemon will not only be part of the team, but also go to the first slot as well. That means the Lysander battle will start with this me and Chao, but also with Xerneas at the beginning, which is horrible. Technically speaking, I broke the rules and this is it. But I was like, it's fine, I just switch into Delphox now and see what is going on. It's technically even worse for me, since I lose the first turn thanks to that interaction. Next is Pyroar and I switch out into Tyrantrum, which was a mistake, since Dark Pulse deals great damage and can land Tyrantrum flinch, which actually happened, and so my Rock and Dragon type Pokemon just goes down brilliant. I choose Lucario next and I feel like I haven't used it a lot, so let's go full power Mega Evolution and Aura Sphere to destroy this puny little lion. Next is Honchkrow, even though I assumed the other one is next, but I believe Mega Evolution Pokemon always go last. Honchkrow cannot do anything to Lucario but go down. Last is Gyarados, and the first thing Lysander does is use the Mega Evolution Stone to evolve Gyarados into Mega Gyarados. But that Aura Sphere nearly took it out. Lucario is just too strong. But Earthquake removes it now, which is okay, it did great. I bring in Venusaur next, and while Outrage looks dangerous, it does about half, and one Petal Blizzard in return knocks a Water Dark Flying Dragon type out. Lysander is finally defeated. This was the last time we meet, the last time we battle. Or until next time, when he decides to destroy this world once more. Arriving in Kuri Town, the Professor Sycamore wants to battle me. But let's be honest, this battle was so easy, he only wanted to show off the final evolutions of the Kanto Starterpokemon. They are great, don't get me wrong, but they didn't stand a chance against Delphox and Lapras. On Route 19 there is a TM waiting to be grabbed. It's Sludge Bomb, the perfect poison type attack for Venusaur. Upgrading Venoshock is quite nice. Before I can enter the city with the last gym, all of my rivals from all over the world came to this single bridge to battle me one by one. They are quite underleveled at this point, so they are getting defeated one by one as well, mainly by Tyrantrum and Venusaur. I think Venusaur might be the MVP in this run, just because of its typing it's already top tier. Anyway, after Shauna, Tiano and Trevor are defeated, I can finally move on to the last gym leader challenge. And Wulfric, the Ice-type specialist, was for some reason the easiest gym battle in the entire game. I went for Delphox, used Core Mind, since Abomasnow cannot do anything to it, and then used Flamethrower to one-shot the Grass and Ice-type. Everluck is Mono Ice, but Flamethrower was enough again. And last is Cryogonal, which may or may not survive a hit. I'll never know because of a critical hit. Wulfric is defeated, and that's all 8 gym badges. The last thing to do is beat the Elite Four and the champion. And as usual, in most games, there's one last rival battle before I'm able to challenge the last battle gauntlet, and that's of course Serena's last attempt to steal my Mega Bracelet. First is Meowstic and I go with Lucario, using Mega Evolution as soon as possible, but Faco removed the turn already, big mistake on my part. I still went for Swords Dance, while Psychic did a huge chunk of damage. I then went for Shadow Claw and removed the Psychic type Pokemon. Next is Flareon, but it is slower, and with Swords Dance active, Close Combat will absolutely devastate Flareon on the spot. I assumed Lucario to lose against Altaria, but Shadow Claw's damage was really good, while Dazzling Gleam was just barely not enough. Another Claw and Altaria is down. Serena's first partner Pokemon Greninja is here, and it is faster. I am very sad to see Lucario go down now, but I can use Lapras next. It can tank any hits here and use Thunderbolt for a huge chunk of HP. Another Dark Pulse, no flinch, and Thunderbolt knocks the Frog Ninja Pokemon out. Last is Absol, and a Night Slash critical hit removed Lapras from the battle. I bring in Tyrantrum, which is the best answer I have against Absol, and while Rock Tomb didn't KO, it lowers the speed again to let the Rock Dragon be faster and Dragon Claw the final attack to remove the last member of her team. Serena is defeated again, and this was it, the last hurdle before the Elite Four. Jumping right in, the Elite Four is a bit interesting here. I can choose which one to tackle first, and I chose Malva, the Fire type Elite Four member. This is the first time in a long while where I am at a lower level, but I didn't level up anything before, so let's see how far I can go. First is Pyroar, and I went with Lucario. Just Mega Evolve for a bit of damage boost and then close combat to be super safe that Pyroar will not survive. Next is Talonflame and I switch into Tyrantrum, blocking Flare Blitz easily. Just another Brave Bird which has recoil, and the Rocky Helmet make a nice combination of slow damage, but Rock Tomb is double, super effective, so it didn't really matter in the end. Next is Torkoal, and I'm not sure why I used Rock Tomb here. It is super effective, but Earthquake would deal so much more damage. Torkoal has no attack, so even this super effective move doesn't deal too much, comparatively speaking. Just another hit and Torkoal is defeated. Last is Chandelure, but it is faster and Tyrantrum already did enough, so it is fine to go down. Lapras in, and while Confuse Ray could be annoying, I had a Person Berry ready to remove it, while Surf just barely doesn't KO. Full Restore heals it back up, but the next Surf did the unthinkable. It did a critical hit and Chandelure is knocked out. Malva is out of Pokemon, and this went way better than expected, that is for sure. I hope the other members of the Elite Four are similar to this one. The second one I want to battle is Seabolt, and I think my team has a pretty good chance at beating him, but maybe I overestimate my team just a little bit. First Clawitzer, and I went with Venusaur. Leech Seed misses, but Dragon Pulse hits and crits. I thought this battle is already over. Now Leech Seed hits, and another Dragon Pulse pushes Venusaur already into the red. Without Black Sludge, Venusaur would be down already. I use Sleep Powder next, but I realized there, can I not just attack and win? I used Petal Blizzard next, and Clawitzer was knocked out immediately. Next is Starmie, and I will switch into Delphox to tank Psychic. Starmie is still faster and uses Light Screen, which is quite annoying, but Grassnot still did some great damage. Starmie has enough and removes Delphox with his super effective Surf easily. I bring a Tyrantrum now, and it has to tank a Dazzling Gleam, which did way too much damage. But it did survive and uses Crunch. The attack was enough to defeat Starmie. Gyarados is here, and this is very dangerous, but before Tyrantrum can even move, its HP is reduced to 0 thanks to Earthquake. Lapras has to handle it, and while the Light Screen is still active for one more turn and Gyarados uses Dragon Dance, Thunderbolt hits and crits for the KO. I didn't believe it, but it's really happening. Last is Barracle, and while Thunderbolt did some good damage, Stone Edge or Crush Up would easily be enough to defeat Lapras. Venusaur back in, and one double super effective Petal Blizzard hits the Water Rock Pokemon, and it is over. Seabolt is defeated, and this battle was a lot harder than the first one, which doesn't bode well for the next fights. This Elite Four has one Steel-type specialist, and that is Wigstrom. I thought about this battle for a while, since it looked so hard to win with only Delphox, until I realized the only Pokemon who has an easy victory over Delphox is the only Pokemon who has literally no answer to Venusaur. Anyway, first is Klefki against my first partner Pokemon. While spikes can be dangerous, one Flamethrower knocked the dangling keys out from full HP. Next is Probopass, and I switch into Venusaur, and the insane long grind begins. I need Leech Seed, and I want Sleep Powder to hit. The reason is that Power Gem just slightly deals more damage than Black Sludge, and Leech Seed recovers. Especially since Petal Blizzard deals so little damage. I also made huge mistakes and miscalculations that Probopass ends up in healing range not once, but twice. Even though it was super easy to skip all of that. But it is what it is, at least all the full restores are gone at this time. Probopass goes down, which is after several turns. Scissor also has no good moves against Venusaur, but I still want to use Leech Seed and then make a risky switch into Delphox. Unfortunately it was Iron Head, the weakest move it could use. Flamethrower however is double super effective and Scissor is defeated. Last is Aegislash, and this could go either way. I went for Flamethrower, but King's Shield was used, so why not try it again? And the Steel Ghost Pokemon took a huge hit, but Shadow Claw was enough to knock my Psychic type out. Which leads to Lucario enter the battle, And why not Mega Evolve? It's basically free. And then Shadow Claw of my own to knock Aegislash out. Vikstrom is out of Pokemon, and that means there's only one Elite Four member left to defeat. I am so close to the finish line, I can almost see it. The last member is Dressner, basing her team around Dragon-type Pokemon, and unlike Lance from Kanto, these are real Dragon-type Pokemon. This is the one battle where I have absolutely no strategy planned at all, so let's hope for the best. First is Regalgi against my Lucario. I went ahead and Mega Evolve immediately and then wanted to see Dragon Pulse damage, but it was so low I'm pretty sure the move gets removed as soon as possible. Just another Sword Stance, and while Lucario nearly gets to lose, I get the Bulldoze in to defeat Regalgi. Now comes Neuvan, and the only move I can realistically use is Dragon Pulse, which did okay, but Lucario goes down now. Still a job well done. Bringing in Delphox next to use one Psychic in Neuvan goes down. Against Altaria I wanted to see how much Psychic does, and the range seems perfect for a Core Mind next. Since Altaria can only use special attacks, Delphox will survive even if barely, and then hit back with another Psychic for the KO. Last is Dradigon, and there's no need to switch anymore. So one Psychic for a huge chunk of damage, and then Delphox returns to the Pokeball. Just using Lapras next, and one Ice Beam will remove everything Dradigon has left. Dressner is defeated, and that means there's only one battle left to do, the champion of Kalos, the first trainer with 6 Pokemon. Diantha has 6 very strong Pokemon, and I don't really have a strategy besides brute force. Just pushing damage and hope for the best. Sounds like the usual run I do, so nothing special I guess. First is Hawlucha, and I went with Delphox. I wanted Core Mind, but of course Poison Jab did a critical hit. Very sad to see. Another jab pushes Delphox into the red, but Citrus Berry is here to help a bit. Psychic hits and Hawlucha is defeated. Next is Tyrantrum, and I just try again. Psychic hits and Tyrantrum is defeated as well. For some reason the champion thinks Gourgeist is the perfect answer for a fire-type Pokemon, but Flamethrower says otherwise. When Goodra entered, I knew it's over for Delphox, just pushing some damage in, while Muddy Water didn't really knock Delphox out. Another Psychic for good measure, and then it is time for Delphox to return to the Pokeball again. I have my own Tyrantrum coming in to use one Dragon Claw in the full restore turn, and it is enough since Goodra is quite bad on the physical defense. Aurora's in for the battle of the fossil Pokemon, but while Earthquake isn't enough, Blizzard would be if it hits, which didn't happen. Another Earthquake and the Ice type is defeated, very lucky for me. Diantha's last Pokemon comes in, Gardevoir. It has the ability to Mega Evolve, which it immediately does, and Tyrantrum is very weak to fairy attacks. And this is it for my Rock Dragon. I use Venusaur next, just in case Diantha uses the wrong move, which didn't happen, and Psycho removed my strongest Pokemon from the team easily. So let's hope Lapras can take a hit, which it did, just barely over half, and then return with Surf for some damage. But it's not enough and Lapras will go down. That means there's only one Pokemon left in my team. Lucario comes in and used the Mega Evolution to boost its power to the maximum, and hit with Shadow Claw is super effective, and Mega Gardevoir is defeated. Diantha is out of Pokemon. There's nothing left she can do but give the champion's crown of Kalos over to me. That means Team Venusaur wins. This run was amazing. I haven't gone through X and Y for a very long time. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I see you in the next one.